My name is Richard, and I had always believed that family problems were supposed to stay inside the family. I was 70 years old, retired, and living alone since my wife passed away. My son, Michael, was the only child I had, and his daughter, Lily, was the brightest part of my life. Lily was 11 years old, curious, funny, and always asking me questions that somehow made me feel young again. For her birthday, I bought her the one thing she had been talking about for months, a small keyboard she could use to learn music. I wrapped it carefully, put it in my car, and drove to Michael's house. When I arrived, everything looked normal. Michael opened the door with a tired smile. "Dad, you made it." "Of course I did," I said. "I wouldn't miss Lily's birthday." His wife, Vanessa, was in the kitchen preparing drinks for the guests. Lily came running toward me. "Grandpa." She hugged me tightly. I handed her the present. Her eyes lit up, but instead of opening it immediately, she looked toward the kitchen. Then she looked back at me. "Grandpa, can I tell you something?" "Anything." She grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the hallway. I smiled at first, then I noticed she wasn't smiling. She looked frightened. She lowered her voice. "Grandpa, can you ask Mom to stop putting things in my juice?" I froze. "What things?" "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" She shook her head. "Sometimes after I drink it, I feel really tired. Sometimes my head feels funny, and Mom says I'm just being dramatic." My heart started pounding. I looked toward the kitchen. Vanessa was standing near the refrigerator. She wasn't looking at us. "Has this happened more than once?" I whispered. Lily nodded. "For weeks." That word changed everything. I crouched down beside her. "Lily, listen to me. You're not in trouble. You haven't done anything wrong." "I know. Have you told your dad?" She hesitated. "No." "Why?" "Mom told me he'd get angry with me." I stood up slowly. At that moment, I wasn't thinking about birthday cake anymore. I was thinking about getting my granddaughter somewhere safe. I walked back into the living room and told Michael that Lily wasn't feeling well. Vanessa immediately interrupted. "She's fine. She gets nervous around doctors." I looked at Lily. She was standing behind me. Her face told me everything. "I think she should be checked," I said. Michael frowned. "Dad, it's her birthday." "I know. Maybe tomorrow." "No." The room became quiet. Michael looked at me strangely. "Why are you suddenly so serious?" I didn't want to accuse anyone without knowing the facts, so I simply said, "Because your daughter told me she's been feeling sick after drinking something here." Vanessa immediately stepped forward. "She means her vitamins." Lily shook her head. "No, Mom." Everyone went silent. Vanessa's expression changed. "Lily, don't start." I stepped between them. "That's enough." Michael looked at his wife, then at his daughter. For the first time, I saw doubt on his face. We left. I took Lily to a doctor while Michael followed behind us. At the clinic, the doctor asked Lily several questions. When did the symptoms begin? How often did they happen? Did they occur after certain meals or drinks? Lily answered honestly. Then the doctor asked her one question. "Who prepares your drinks?" Lily looked at me, then she looked at her father. "Usually Mom." Michael's face went pale. The doctor ordered several tests. We waited and waited. Lily sat beside me, holding my hand. I could feel how scared she was. "You're okay," I told her. She whispered, "Grandpa, am I going to get Mom in trouble?" That question broke my heart. "No," I said. "You're telling the truth. Whatever happens next is for the adults to figure out." After nearly an hour, the doctor returned. He was holding the results. His expression was serious. Michael stood up. "What is it?" The doctor looked at all three of us. "The results indicate that she has been exposed to something that shouldn't be in her system." Michael stared at him. "What?" "I can't determine the source from this test alone," the doctor replied. "But this needs to be taken seriously." My blood ran cold. Michael looked at Lily. Then he looked at me. "Dad," I interrupted. "Call the appropriate authorities and make sure this is documented." The doctor agreed. But before anyone could say anything else, Vanessa arrived at the clinic. She walked through the door furious. "You had no right to bring her here without me." Michael turned toward her. "Vanessa, what has been happening to Lily?" "Nothing." "Then why are her tests abnormal?" Vanessa stopped. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she looked at Lily. "Who told you to say these things?" Lily started crying. I immediately moved closer to her. "No one told her anything." Vanessa shook her head. "You don't understand." Michael's voice became quiet. "Then explain it." She couldn't. Finally, she admitted that she had been giving Lily something in her drinks, but her explanation wasn't what any of us expected. She claimed it was part of a treatment recommended to help Lily sleep and calm her anxiety. Michael stared at her. "Why didn't you tell me? I thought you wouldn't understand." Why didn't you tell the doctor? She had no answer. The doctor immediately made it clear that no one should give a child anything without proper medical supervision and that Lily's treatment needed to be handled by qualified professionals. But there was still one question hanging in the room. Why had Vanessa hidden it? That answer came later. Michael and I discovered that Vanessa had been struggling with severe pressure from work, parenting, and a complicated family situation. Instead of asking for help, she had made a reckless decision and kept it secret. But the most heartbreaking part came when Lily finally told her father why she had been afraid to speak. Mom told me nobody would believe me. Michael covered his face with his hands. I had never seen my son cry like that. He sat beside Lily. I believe you, he whispered. Then he hugged her. I should have listened sooner. Lily cried into his shoulder. And I realized something. Sometimes children don't need someone to solve every problem for them. Sometimes they simply need one adult who believes them when they're brave enough to speak. The investigation continued, and Vanessa had to face the consequences of her decisions. But Lily was safe. She received proper medical care. And Michael changed the way he listened to his daughter. Months later, I visited them again. Lily ran through the door carrying her little keyboard. Grandpa, listen. She played the first few notes she had learned. They weren't perfect, but I smiled anyway. You're getting better. She grinned. Then she hugged me. Thank you for listening. I hugged her back. You never have to thank me for that. She looked up at me. Will you always believe me? I smiled. Whenever you tell me something important, I'll always listen. And that was the moment I understood why she had pulled me into that hallway on her birthday. She wasn't asking me to punish her mother. She wasn't trying to cause trouble. She was simply asking someone to notice that something was wrong. And sometimes, noticing is the difference between a child remaining silent and a child final. That birthday changed our entire family. The present I brought Lily that day was a keyboard, but the greatest gift I gave her wasn't wrapped in paper. It was believing her when she was afraid nobody else would. And I'll never forget what she said to me months later. Grandpa, I knew you would listen. If there's one lesson I learned from that day, it's this. When a child tells you something feels wrong, don't dismiss it just because the truth is uncomfortable. Listen first, ask questions, get the right help, because sometimes, behind the smallest whisper is a story that could change an entire family. You never have to thank me for that. She looked up at me. Will you always believe me? I smiled. Whenever you tell me something important, I'll always listen. And that was the moment I understood why she had pulled me into that hallway on her birthday. She wasn't asking me to punish her mother. She wasn't trying to cause trouble. She was simply asking someone to notice that something was wrong. And sometimes, noticing is the difference between a child remaining silent and a child final. That birthday changed our entire family. The present I brought Lily that day was a keyboard, but the greatest gift I gave her wasn't wrapped in paper. It was believing her when she was afraid nobody else would. And I'll never forget what she said to me months later. Grandpa, I knew you would listen. If there's one lesson I learned from that day, it's this. When a child tells you something feels wrong, don't dismiss it just because the truth is uncomfortable. Listen first, ask questions, get the right help, because sometimes, behind the smallest whisper is a story that could change an entire family.